Okay. Hello everyone, it's Makeda Valletta, also known as the Body Scientist, and in case you are unfamiliar with me, I have a background in exercise and sports science and nutrition science, and but I have a very holistic approach, and I believe in getting our nutrients from nature, okay, from natural sources, as much as we possibly can. I'm sorry, I'm fixing this camera. Okay, so I was going to do a video about vitamin D science. I've already done a video on vitamin D in the past, so be sure that you watch it. I think it's called "What Do You Really Know About Vitamin D?" You can find it on my YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81. And so I'm talking to those on Instagram. You can find the video on my page, The Body Scientist 81. And for those of you on YouTube, I will post the video below this YouTube video, okay? So those of you who follow my work, you know that I talk a lot about fats, and I talk about animal fats a lot and why they're so important. Vitamin D, okay? Vitamin D can only be found in animal foods, in animal fats. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, and it's actually not a vitamin, it's a hormone, okay? So the fat-soluble vitamins are vitamins K, E, D, and A, which is the last half of my name, okay? My name is Makeda, M-A-K-E-D-A, K, E, D, and A. Those are the fat-soluble vitamins. You need fat in order to digest and absorb the fat-soluble vitamins, okay? This is the reason why people talk about getting vitamin D from mushrooms and, pills and stuff that don't have fat. It's not good. Also, when it comes to vitamins, whether it be vitamin D, vitamin A, E, there's different chemical forms. There's many different chemical forms. They don't all have the same biological effect in our bodies, okay? So, vitamin D is mostly found in cod liver oil. It's found in the liver of land animals. I'm not sure if poultry liver, is higher in vitamin D. It's also high in the milk and cream of grass-fed animals. It's high in the eggs of pasture chickens. Those are all very good sources of vitamin D, and they're also balanced well with vitamin A, because vitamin D needs vitamin A. You do not want to have high dosage of vitamin D with no vitamin A. You remember that. And this is the reason why it can be toxic to take a vitamin by itself. But vitamin D is there's a huge international problem with vitamin D deficiencies all around the world. I talk about that in my other video, Understanding Vitamin D. So I'm going to get a little bit more into this science, okay? Now, vitamin D plays a huge role in our immune system, okay? Huge. A lot of people know that vitamin C plays a role, but they're totally unaware of vitamin D, okay? Vitamin D completely controls, has a huge effect on how our body's able to recognize foreign invaders and get rid of foreign invaders. There are a number of levels, things that vitamin D is responsible for. We have vitamin D receptors in almost every cell in our body, okay? And these, when they are activated, they activate our immune system, among other things. So because there's such a big vitamin D deficiency, and we mostly get vitamin D from the sun, but there are many challenges with that, and I'm going to get into that in this discussion. There are many challenges with that, and many of us don't get the vitamin D we need from the sun because we have too much clothes on. We're inside our office building. We're inside our cars. But in the summertime, also, depending on where you live in the world, okay, so I live in Chicago, I'm from New York. If you're like in that part of the world, if you're north of, Atlanta, Georgia, the sun is not going to produce UVB rays in the winter. Like between October and April, the sun does not have the UVB rays to even produce vitamin D. If you live in Florida, you live in the Caribbean, you live in certain Africa, certain places, certain parts of the globe, the UVB rays may be able to help you make vitamin D all year round, but a lot of the world you can't do that, okay? So because of that, there is an increase in colds and flus in colder weather, and that's due to lack of sunlight. Sunlight also has other important roles that it plays on our immune system besides the vitamin D aspect. So getting sunlight is important, okay? The sun shines on our skin, and there's a compound on our skin called 70-hydroxycholesterol, and the UVB ray hits the 70-hydroxycholesterol. It interacts with that. And then it creates cholecalciferol, which is vitamin D3. So the UVB rays hit our sun, and that's how we produce vitamin D from the sun. I talk about this in my other video. Vitamin D3 goes to the liver, right? So when it hits the sun, the UVB rays hits the 70-hydroxycholesterol. It produces cholecalciferol. That goes to the liver, okay? That goes to the liver from the blood, and there's an enzyme in the liver that turns it into calcidiol, okay? Calcidiol is also known as 25-hydroxy, which is the circulating form of vitamin D. Okay, this is the thing about vitamins too and metabolism. A lot of people don't understand. And when I tell people that nutrition science is a lot of biochemistry, all of these steps I'm explaining to you is biochemistry. What biochemistry is how this enzyme turns on this, and then this is transported over here to be metabolized as this. This is what metabolism is in biochemistry. There are many, many, many steps, okay? So I'm explaining the steps about vitamin D. The UVB ray hits our skin, it interacts with 70-hydroxycholesterol, which then forms cholecalciferol. That then travels to the liver, and there's an enzyme that turns it into calcidiol, which is also known as 25-hydroxy. Calcidiol is like a bank account version of vitamin D. It's not the active hormone version. Vitamin D is actually a hormone, not a vitamin. So that's not the actual active hormone version of it. That's the bank account version, the calcidiol. It has to be activated and turned into the hormone version, which is calcitriol, okay? So we have the calcidiol coming out of the liver, and that's what circulates in the blood, okay? Circulates throughout the body. Most of the cells in our body have the enzyme to turn calcidiol into calcitriol. And calcitriol is the active hormone version of vitamin D. It's also short-acting, okay? So it's a short-acting hormone. When you get a blood test, they're measuring 25-hydroxy, which is calcidiol, which is the bank account version of vitamin D. That's what gets measured when you get a blood test. But calcitriol is the one that is active, okay? I already said that, the good food sources of vitamin D: cod liver oil, raw milk and cream from grass-fed cows, pasture egg yolks, grass-fed butter, and lard, okay? Most of the U.S. can't produce vitamin D from October to April. The darker your skin, the harder it is to produce vitamin D, okay? Also, we have to have a lot of our skin exposed to the sun in order to even produce vitamin D. And I explained this in my other video, what do you really know about vitamin D? Be sure to look at that because I don't want to go through all of that again. Vitamin D is necessary to produce insulin. Vitamin D is necessary to produce insulin. Could that play a role in the fact that so many melanated people have diabetes problems? Okay, a lot of times things are multi-layered. Okay, but a vitamin D deficiency will decrease your ability to make insulin because vitamin D is necessary to make insulin. As we age, our skin is less able to make vitamin D. So vitamin D in elderly people, vitamin D deficiencies is really important, and even the sunlight, it's not really easy for them to get vitamin D from the sun. So that's where dietary sources become even more important for the elderly. Using sunscreen of SPF of 8 causes 95% blockage of vitamin D production, and SPF 15 reduces it to 99%, okay? And again, check out my video, What Do You Really Know About Vitamin D, because I will talk more about that in other videos where I talk about skin. In the summer, we need to be out in the warmest parts of the day between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. in order to get enough sun. Dermatologists say if your shadow is shorter than you, dermatologists say that if your shadow is shorter than you are, stay out of the sun or cover up. Oh, I'm sorry. Or cover up. But the vitamin D advocates say the opposite. They say unless your shadow is shorter than you are, then you are not making any vitamin D. So you need to be out during the day, the time of the day where your shadow is shorter than you, or you're not making enough vitamin D. You're not making vitamin D from the sun. So you need to be out midday, mostly naked, okay, with the sun beaming on you. UVB rays, we have UVB and UVA. UVB rays are shorter, which means that they're more scattered and that they hit you from different angles, okay? The UVA rays, and now the UVB is what you need to make vitamin D. UVA is more destructive. UVA penetrates deeper and is what's responsible for melanoma and all the different skin cancers. UVA is more direct. And when you're driving in a car with glass, it blocks out the UVB and allows the UVA to still penetrate through you. So actually, sunlight through glass can actually increase your chances of skin cancer because it blocks the UVB, blocks the ability to make vitamin D, but then gives you a blast of UVA, which is actually the worst, okay? And also, the morning, like I told you, you need to be out during the 10 and 2 in the daytime, about 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. when the sun is the strongest. Before that and after that, the sun is mostly UVA. So if somebody was only going out in the morning and the evening trying to get vitamin D, they actually wouldn't make vitamin D, and they would end up increasing their chances for skin cancer, okay? Yeah, because UVA rays are higher in the evening and the morning. A study in England found that the people with the highest vitamin D were not the fish eaters, but the meat eaters, okay? Vegans were the lowest, vegetarians a little higher, but there was about an 8 nanogram per milliliter difference between the meat eaters and the vegans, okay? Now, 8 nanograms per milliliter. Okay, so like people have different opinions of where your vitamin D level should be. Definitely below 30 is definitely a problem. And a lot of people have vitamin D levels below 30 nanograms per milliliter. But even a lot of people, there are a lot of people who think that you shouldn't be below 50, okay? So an 8 nanograms per milliliter difference is a pretty big difference, okay? And again, that's because there's no plant sources of vitamin D. And the reason why they found that the meat eaters had higher vitamin D than the fish eaters was because the reason for this is because meat has vitamin D as 25-hydroxy. Most of the food, it's the chemical form that it's in, basically. People who are overweight and obese often have a lot less vitamin D. Okay, so people who are overweight and obese often have a lot less vitamin D, which means they also need to be conscious of getting vitamin D in their diet. And dark-skinned people who are not in Africa also have very low levels. The benefits of vitamin D is that it greatly decreases and protects against cancer. Okay, cancer. There's a lot of research on vitamin D and cancer protection, and I've been doing a lot of this research in the past couple of weeks, but it's just like trying to figure out how to translate all that nerdiness into layman's terms that will interest you and so that you will understand. But so benefits of high vitamin D: it greatly decreases and protects against cancer, respiratory tract infections, adverse pregnancy and birth outcomes, premature death, autism and ADHD, dental caries, poor sleep, cognitive dysfunction, Alzheimer's disease, erectile dysfunction and low testosterone, and blood pressure. So yes, anybody with blood pressure issues definitely needs vitamin D. Okay, but all those things that is noted is linked to it. And it's interesting about testosterone because testosterone is also made from cholesterol, just like vitamin D, which is another reason why I would never suggest going on a low cholesterol diet or being a vegan. Don't recommend it. The cancers that have greatly been shown to be reduced by UVB rays are cancers of the digestive tract, the colon, esophageal, laryngeal, oral, and pharyngeal, rectal, and small intestine. In female cancers, the breast, endometrial, ovarian, and vulvar cancers, cancers of the female system is linked to being greatly reduced by UVB rays, along with urogenital cancers of the bladder, the kidney, the prostate, and testicular cancer. Also the gallbladder, the lung, the pancreas, and the thyroid. And Hodgkin's lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and leukemia. All of those have been greatly linked to UVB rays, okay? There are a lot of studies on this. Vitamin D from sunlight lasts 2 to 3 times longer than when it comes from your diet. So again, this is talking about, sunlight is still important. Even if you're getting vitamin D from your diet, you still need the sun. And vitamin D from the sun lasts 2 to 3 times longer than it does from your diet. But you also need to have cholesterol on your diet to make vitamin D from the sun. And this is why, what I put on my skin, by putting animal fats in your skin is good because you can get natural vitamin D. So what I have on my skin now has ghee in it. It's cocoa butter, shea butter, ghee, and castor oil, and palm oil. But the ghee is very, very high in vitamin D. I have other mixtures with lard that's mixed with the cocoa butter and shea butter and coconut oil and all this other stuff. Lard is also very, very high in vitamin D. Take a look at the links I post below on my YouTube video so you can see more and do research. But putting the cholesterol and topical vitamin D where it can go right into your skin is another thing. And needs to be in your diet. Many mothers and babies are vitamin D deficient, and many women have to get C-sections due to vitamin D deficiencies. Studies have shown that women had a 400% reduced risk of requiring a C-section if they were vitamin D deficient at the time of giving birth. Ooh, hold on. I can't believe this. Man, every time I'm giving an important talk on IG, my camera goes out. So, to the people on IG, I was just talking for 17 minutes. Very important information about vitamin D that you need, but the camera stopped. So now I'm restarting it. So if you're watching this on IG, understand you just missed the first 17 minutes. You can find this video on my YouTube page, which is another reason why you should follow me on YouTube. My YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81. This video will be on my YouTube page. So be sure to find it there because you just missed the first 17 minutes of this video. Okay, so I'm talking about mothers and vitamin D. So, many mothers and babies are vitamin D deficient. Many women have to get C-sections due to vitamin D. And studies have shown that women had a 400% reduced risk of requiring a C-section if they were vitamin D sufficient, okay? So when a woman is vitamin D deficient, she has a 400% chance of increased risk of having a C-section at the time of giving birth. And vitamin D deficiencies in women and pregnant women is also related to preeclampsia and breast milk that is lacking in vitamin D. So the thing is that, in all traditional societies, women and men went on special diets prior to conception. This is important for the women and the men because the quality of the sperm also matters. But for women, this is critical because women have to grow the babies. So if a woman is depleted, everything goes to the baby first. Now, if you're depleted, the baby still might be depleted. You didn't have enough to give it, the baby's still depleted, and you have a sickly baby. But it also depletes the mother. Okay, so I feel like that's the reason why there's so many women having postpartum, so many women having this issue, their hair is falling out. All this stuff is due to severe, nutritional deficiencies, breast sagging, all of that stuff. Too many pregnant women are eating low-fat diets. You need a lot of animal fat, animal blood, animal milk, animal eggs, okay, to build healthy babies and to not deplete yourself at the same time. Okay, so vitamin D deficiencies are linked to a 400% increased chance of having a C-section, okay? Vitamin D also plays a huge role in muscle strength, okay? Muscle contractions and muscle strength. So people who are having a lot of muscle pain, bone pain, a lot of times they have vitamin D deficiency. And this is especially the case in elderly people because As I've said several times, older people have a bigger issue with vitamin D deficiencies because it's harder for them to make it from the sun. And, a lot of people are lacking food sources. So if you have older people who are like, oh, my bones hurt, my muscles hurt, and they're not really sure, even younger people, a lot of that is linked to vitamin D deficiencies. Vitamin D deficiencies are linked to vertebral fractures as well. Okay? And I have a lot more I want to say, but I think that I'm going to save it for my Patreon page. So on my Patreon page, I'm going to get more in depth on this topic. Yeah, I just spent 21 minutes, I think is a lot of free information. But I have lots more to share with you on vitamin D, especially understanding how much you need to give yourself, how much you need to give your children, how to be able to measure that. I'm going to get more into that on my Patreon page. I'll be posting the link for that below on my YouTube video. And I will do a video probably tomorrow with an official announcement about the Patreon page. Just a couple more things is that vitamin D can modulate the innate and adaptive immune responses. So we have two different immune systems, the innate and adaptive. Vitamin D modulates both of them, which means a lot of things. It means people, even with autoimmune diseases, they have a hyperactive immune system, which is not good, and vitamin D helps to calm that down. Helps the immune system be able to do the job and calm down. And vitamin D is deficiency in vitamin D is associated with increased autoimmune disease as well as increased susceptibility to infection. So I'll keep talking about vitamin D and infections. And receptors for vitamin D are present in almost all cells of the immune system and all resting cells except the T cells, which need to be activated to get receptors for vitamin D. I'm going to stop it there. So vitamin D is serious, people. I'm going to be going into depth with all the vitamins and all the different nutrients on my Patreon page. You'll be able to ask me questions, and we can do research together. I can guide you through it. And so stay tuned for that, okay? If you learn, be sure to check out my other video, What Do You Really Know About Vitamin D? I'll post it below on my YouTube page. Be sure to like the video if you learned something. Share the video. Subscribe to the page because sharing is caring. This is all free information. And again, remember, with your health, what you don't know can hurt you, okay? What you do not know can hurt you. I did a video earlier today on, a couple hours ago, on more info on the coronavirus, the issues with detecting the virus, and there was a couple things that I forgot to say. But be sure to check out that video because there's a lot of issues with being able to detect it, and there's a lot of things that we have to take seriously, especially when it comes to the elderly and kids, okay? Because you gotta stay away from them kids, and that's serious. So be sure to check out my videos on the coronavirus. I've done 3 so far. I'm sure you'll learn some new things and important things. And if you do, please like the video. Please share the video. Leave your comments. Check out the other links that I post below. And good luck to all of you. And get on your vitamin D because vitamin D deficiencies is a serious problem on the planet. And it's linked to so many things when it comes to our immunity and childbirth and us not losing our damn minds, okay? All right, people. So have a good day. Take care. Bye.